Okay, finally a good computer hacking scene in a TV show. This is called Monarch. I like to look at these scenes. Usually there's just gibberish code. It's like copied and pasted from like an Amazon shopping list. But this one is actually done really well. Let's walk through this. First, she logs in with root access, you see, with a Unix-based system. This is totally legit. Then she's modifying what looks like some PHP code, which is to get into probably the web server, and she gets through that real quick. Now, this is an employee who works in this office, so she has access to the source code and for some reason the production environment. But what you have to understand is anybody who has access to the production source code, it doesn't matter whether or not they have actual credentials. They can just change the code to say, hey, you know what? The login is equal to true. Everybody who goes to this page is logged in. Now she's over here in this mainframe system. So this right here is like a pretty standard configuration file. Anybody who's trying to hack into, or somebody who works at a company and wants to get into access is probably going to want to do something with this configuration file. They might either be console logging out the credentials, or maybe they're just changing something to, over here you have auth required. They could just say false right there. Now she's working on a biotech company. So now we've got some C++ code right here. I think it is. I don't work with C++ very often. But as you can see, this is some lower level code. And if she's hacking into some kind of real system, this is not like throwing Amazon's front end HTML code into your hacking scene. This is something, and here we have the key login helper. So she's working in the part of the code that would be required for her to modify in order to get access to whatever. Then the next scene, she's jumping back to this JavaScript code right here. This is a try catch. This is pretty sure this is JavaScript. But the thing is, okay, so she's jumping back to a different, she's already done C++ and PHP, and now she's in JavaScript. This is totally normal for if you're modifying the login of some kind of system, because you might have to jump in between the front end interface, the back end interface, and maybe the database. So you would be modifying multiple languages. And again, this is the right part of the code. Somebody advised these people 100% correctly. Finally, she gets access to the system, and I cannot stress more, if a developer has access to your production system, they don't need passwords. Right? So if you're thinking, oh, I'm gonna hire this person, I don't really trust them, but I'm not gonna give them all the passwords to everything. It doesn't matter. If you have access to the source code, the production code, you can just bypass all necessity for passwords. You can even discover the passwords if you want to, no matter what kind of password manager they're supposedly hidden into. So great job to the Monarch team. They actually got some real advisors on this, A++, and it's a pretty good show too, and this makes it much better. There's even some files over here. This looks like a real file system.